Among the samurai who appear in Japanese history, there were those known as swordsmen, excelling in the art of swordsmanship. They dedicated their lives to honing their sword skills, sometimes secluding themselves in mountains or shrines to develop their own secret techniques and schools. The techniques they created enhanced the swordsmanship of the samurai and have been passed down to modern martial arts such as Iaido. In this video, I will introduce the top 3 greatest samurai. Number 3. Okita Souji. Okita Souji was a samurai active in the late Edo period, known as the strongest swordsman of the Shinsengumi, a police force in Kyoto. The Shinsengumi was an elite group of swordsmen formed to maintain order in Kyoto during the tumultuous final years of the Tokugawa shogunate. At that time in Japan, the Sonojoi movement, which revered the emperor and sought to place him at the center of governance, was gaining momentum, posing a threat to the ruling Tokugawa shogunate. The Shinsengumi played a crucial role in protecting Kyoto from the pro-imperial, anti-foreign Sonojoi faction. Born into a samurai family in 1842, Okita lost his parents at the age of 4 or 5. Despite facing financial hardships, his talent in swordsmanship was recognized, and he was admitted to a prestigious swordsmanship dojo at the age of 9. There, his talent quickly blossomed, and he became a master swordsman in no time. In 1863, he formed the Shinsengumi with his fellow dojo member Kondo Isami, who was the leader of the group and the person Okita respected the most. Okita then served as the captain of the first unit of the Shinsengumi. Although he was not the leader, he was reputed to be a better swordsman than the leader, Kondo Isami, and was said to be stronger than his teachers at the dojo. One of his famous techniques was the Sandansuki, where he would deliver 3 thrusts in the time it took for his footstep to sound once. Additionally, his stance involved the sword tip being slightly lowered and a forward-leaning posture with its abdomen slightly protruding. One of the notable missions he participated in was the Ikedaya incident. In this event, the Shinsengumi attacked a group of Sonojoi samurai gathered at an inn. With just 4 members, including Okita and Kondo Isami, they stormed the inn where over 20 samurai plotting against the Tokugawa shogunate were meeting. They engaged in a fierce battle with these samurai until reinforcements arrived. While Okita Souji was a prominent member of the Shinsengumi, he was also known for his frail health. In 1868, he contracted tuberculosis. Despite his attempts to return to the battlefield, his condition repeatedly worsened, and he was eventually forced to focus on recuperation. Around the same time, his respected leader, Kondo Isami, was captured and sentenced to beheading. However, those around Okita, concerned for his feelings, kept the truth from him. Okita passed away quietly at the young age of 25, without the company of friends or acquaintances, about 2 months after Kondo's execution, unaware of his leader's fate and concerned for him until the end. It is said in books documenting the Shinsengumi's exploits that during his convalescence, he attempted to cut a black cat with his sword, but couldn't bring himself to do it, passing away with the sword still drawn. Contrary to his role as the strongest swordsman of the Shinsengumi, his true nature was quite different. He was known to be a good-natured young man, innocent like a child, and liked by everyone. He often played with children, and among the feared members of the Shinsengumi, he was perhaps the only one who was beloved by children. The sword associated with Okita Souji is known as菊一文字のり宗. This sword was so renowned that even feudal lords found it difficult to acquire. He reportedly found it too precious to use for killing, and is said to have fled without drawing it when encountering assassins. However, there was one occasion when he drew the sword, following the murder of one of his Shinsengumi comrades. Lying in ambush, he drew this sword and swiftly defeated his enemy without causing any damage to the blade. After his death, the sword was reportedly enshrined in a shrine, possibly in Tokyo, although the details are unclear. Number 2. Tsukahara Bokuden. Tsukahara Bokuden was a famous swordsman of the Sengoku period. He mastered a technique known as Hitotsu no Tachi and founded the Kashima Shinto-ryu school of swordsmanship. He boasted an undefeated record throughout his life and was celebrated as the strongest swordsman. Born in 1489 in what is now Ibaraki Prefecture, into a family that inherited the Kashima Shichiryu school of swordsmanship, Bokuden was trained in swordsmanship from a young age by his father. A turning point came when he was 10 years old. His swordsmanship talent and his calm and collected nature caught the eye of the swordsman Tsukahara Yasumoto, and he was adopted into Yasumoto's family. This family was also renowned for its swordsmanship, practicing the Katori Shinto-ryu. Here, Bokuden's natural talent shone through, and by his mid-teens, he had mastered 2 schools of swordsmanship, becoming a respected figure. At the age of 17, Bokuden set out on a warrior's pilgrimage. Although his future as a young lord of a small domain was assured, he wanted to test his skills and fortune. Traveling through various provinces and reaching the capital, Kyoto, he quickly made a name for himself through duels with renowned swordsmen and caught the attention of the shogun of the Muromachi shogunate. He was then appointed as a direct retainer of the shogun and thrown into the tumult of war. On the battlefield, his swordsmanship was on a different level. He fought in 37 battles, winning them all. He is said to have taken the heads of 12 generals and slain a total of 212 enemies. Remarkably, he only suffered minor arrow wounds 6 times. His experiences in battle greatly influenced the school of swordsmanship he later created. Bokuden also served as the swordsmanship instructor to Shogun Ashikaga Yoshiteru, known as the swordsman shogun, who was highly skilled in the art. In 1518, Bokuden returned to his hometown from the war-torn Kyoto and immersed himself again in swordsmanship training. At the suggestion of his foster father, he became a disciple of the famous swordsman Matsumoto Masanobu. Matsumoto Masanobu was a swordsman who had achieved enlightenment of the secret technique Hitotsu no Tachi through rigorous training secluded in a shrine, and he encouraged Bokuden to undertake similar training. Following his teacher's advice, Bokuden entered a 1,000-day retreat at a shrine. As the 1,000th day approached, one night, he received a divine revelation. An old man with a white beard appeared and thrust a wooden sword at him. Bokuden parried the wooden sword and tried to strike back, but there was no resistance. Realizing that the old man was a god or a hermit, he erased the figure from his mind and, maintaining a natural state, struck at the wooden sword with a single-minded focus. At that moment, he experienced a mysterious sensation of being one with the sword, with neither himself nor his opponent existing, just a state of no mind. This was a moment of enlightenment of the secret technique Hitotsu no Tachi, where one puts their whole body and soul into the initial strike without resorting to a second or third strike. This new understanding laid the foundation for his unique school, Kashima Shinto-ryu. The details of this secret technique were only passed on to a few select disciples, and thus remain shrouded in mystery today. One of the anecdotes that highlight his strength is a legendary encounter with the famous swordsman Miyamoto Musashi. It is said that a young and impetuous Musashi suddenly attacked Bokuden while he was eating, but Bokuden managed to fend off the sword with a pot lid. However, this sword is often considered apocryphal due to the significant difference in their birth periods. Bokuden was known to favor a sword made by the swordsmith Dai Kunitoshi. Dai Kunitoshi was a swordsmith active in the 13th century in what is now Kyoto Prefecture. While the details of the specific sword Bokuden used are not clear, several swords made by this swordsmith still exist, and most are designated as national treasures or important cultural properties, indicating the high quality of his work. Number 1. Miyamoto Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi is the most famous samurai in Japan, known as the strongest swordsman in history. He remains highly popular as a master of the two-sword fighting style and has been the subject of various dramas, movies, and manga. He was active during the 16th and 17th centuries. Musashi was born in 1584 in what is now Hyogo Prefecture. There are various theories about his father, but it is said that he was adopted by a master swordsman at a young age. He began formal swordsmanship training at the age of 13, but he often clashed with his father. According to one story, Musashi once mocked his father's swordsmanship while his father was whittling a toothpick, leading to a heated argument. His father, Munisai, in a rage, threw a dagger at Musashi, who calmly dodged it. This further infuriated Munisai, who threw another dagger. Such extreme parent-child conflicts were frequent. Eventually, Musashi left home and traveled around as a warrior, raising his reputation as a swordsman and serving as a guest retainer in various feudal lord households. He participated and made his mark in major battles of the time, such as the Battle of Sekigahara and the Siege of Osaka. According to his own book, the Book of Five Rings, between the ages of 13 and 29, he fought in over 60 duels against other swordsmen and won every time. He was a wild, fearless man who challenged any strong opponent he encountered. Having made a name for himself, Musashi was recognized for his swordsmanship skills and became a guest retainer for the Hosokawa clan in 1640. It was during this time that he began writing his autobiography, The Book of Five Rings, which is still read worldwide as a work of philosophy. After completing it, he passed it on to his disciples and passed away at the age of 64. Important documents other than his own writings also exist about Miyamoto Musashi. One such significant record is an inscription at the summit of Tamukeyama in Fukuoka Prefecture. This monument was erected by his adopted son and is engraved with over 1,100 characters of classical Chinese script. It details, among other things, his most famous duel, the Battle of Ganryujima. The challenge was issued by the swordsman Sasaki Kojiro. Although Kojiro proposed to fight with real swords, Musashi responded, "It would be best for you to use a real sword. I will confront you with a wooden sword." The duel took place on an island in what is now Yamaguchi Prefecture, with both men arriving at the appointed time. When the duel commenced, Kojiro attacked with a Japanese sword, but Musashi countered with his wooden sword and struck him down in a flash. This duel became the last of his life. The island was later named Ganryujima after this duel and became known as a sacred site associated with Musashi. Musashi was also a practitioner of the two-sword fighting style and the founder of the Nitten Ichidu school of swordsmanship. It was rare for a samurai to fight with two swords, making his style unique and a testament to his incredible strength. In his book, the Book of Five Rings, he advocates the necessity for a warrior to train with two swords. Musashi's beloved sword, which he is said to have crafted himself, was named Izumi no Kami Kaneshige. The blade was made by the swordsmith Kaneshige, and the hilt was wrapped in cow or horse leather. The fittings he crafted, known as Musashi Koshirae, were practical and easy to use, carefully adjusted based on his experience in swordsmanship training. There are several swords with this signature, and the one he actually used existed until World War II, but its current whereabouts are unknown. Japanese traditional knives are recognized as first class by professional chefs worldwide for their sharpness, akin to that of Japanese swords. This is partly due to the history of swordsmiths. For over 1,000 years, swordsmiths have been creating numerous swords for battles, playing a vital role. However, with the arrival of peaceful times in the 18th century, the demand for swords declined. Many master craftsmen then shifted from sword making to knife making, passing on their swordsmithing techniques to knife crafting. This is why Japanese knives possess such exceptional sharpness. I want everyone to experience the excellent sharpness and the beauty of the blades of Japanese knives. At HOCHO KNIFE, you can purchase knives online made by Japanese knife artisans. They offer a wide variety of knives, so please find and purchase your unique knife. For the product page, please check the description of this video. We hope you enjoyed this exploration into the world of Japanese swords. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting content about the history of Japanese swords. Until next time, sayonara.